Hey, what's up Transformers fans, my fellow geek gals and geek guys. I'm excited today about this brown box right here. And if you've been following the news as far as what's being released, this is going to be a FansToys release here, and stands to be, no pun intended, the biggest Transformer ever made, with the exception perhaps of Like Toys, I guess, if they happen to come out with their Metroplex. But I don't know where the stats exactly line up on those two, but if FansToys goes through with this, this is going to be one huge bot. HasLab will have nothing on this. So even though it says box 1 of 1, it won't be by the time FansToys is done, if they go through with their plan. Oh yeah! Hannibal! Fortress Maximus. The head of Fortress Maximus, at least. And this is Cerebros. So I really like this guy. I want to check him out. I've been really excited about getting this. You know, it's a huge day for Masterpiece Transformers fans. But I did promise one of you fellow fans out there that I would review FT-23 Dracula, FansToys version of Mindwipe. So we're going to do that. Now, I could have done this episode as a Transformers Time Warp, but as luck would have it, at this point in time, everything old is new again. FansToys is reissuing, you know, their previous Headmasters. You've got Lupus coming out, aka Weird Wolf, and you've got Chomp, which just came out, so aka Skull Cruncher. So way back when, I don't know what year this was. Says 2018 on the box. FansToys came out with their Headmaster Dracula. This was after Weird Wolf, and so this would have been their second in the Decepticon series of Headmasters, of which, according to my research, there are actually a total of 6 in the American continuity of G1 and 9 in the Japanese G1 continuity. Before you freak out, 3 of those are Headmaster Juniors. So as Decepticons, we've got Scorponok, Skullcruncher, Weird Wolf, Apeface, and Snapdragon, and then Mindwipe here. So most recently, FT-51 Chomp, FansToys version of Skullcruncher, rounded out the 3 main Decepticon Headmasters from the series, not including the Horrorcons. So the Japanese continuity doesn't take into account the American G1 series episodes, The Rebirth, parts 1, 2, and 3. Instead, it builds its own Headmaster timeline and storyline on Transformers Headmasters. So if you're looking for more Headmaster action, check out the Japanese series. They've got a whole show dedicated to it, whereas the American G1 storyline only had 3 episodes. And before we get to unboxing this guy, I wanted to give a special shout out to 2007 Supersport for engaging me in discussion and giving me the suggestion to review this bot. All right, let's get him out of this plastic here. Really? Nicely packaged. Got the FansToys seal there. Looks like it's, I think it's nice and tight. Yep. FansToys seal up top. And a quick spin of the box here. Now, please keep in mind that everything that you are seeing here is from the original release, not from the re-release that's coming out. So, as is the case with FansToys Thomas, the re-release of that, from what I've heard, is not going to have all of the original accessories. So be aware that if you order FT-23 on the reissue, that it might not have all the same accessories that you see here. So we've got the FansToys box art on the front. I am not particularly wowed by the style of this drawing, but there it is. Just a big old name on the side, Dracula, with the FansToys logo. Front, you got his, or excuse me, top, you've got his alt mode. Backside, you've got some cool photography and you know, blurbs about the character, apparently. And the other side, also the name, and the bottom, same as the top. Now for the good part. All right, here we go. It's a big box for a handhold position here. FansToys tape on there, that's nice. Looks like we got a 3-layer cake thing going on. Box is empty. Got a brochure, user manual, and collectible card. Brochure here. Photography on the front. Multicolor inside. Nice. Collector card is nice and thick. Hard plastic. Looks like some good photography there on the back, and on the front, 3D render, it looks like. Cool. When I started getting into collecting, FansToys was a big deal when it came to the Dinobots, and I saw that they had also come out with a couple of these Headmasters. Lupus was, you know, nowhere to be found, or I didn't know to appreciate it yet, so I might have been able to get it when I first got on board in, you know, 2018, but now you can see the prices are astronomical for that thing aftermarket. Good thing that reissue's coming out, and you know, if you're not opposed to it, the KO of it as well. I decided to go with Dracula here because, well, it was really down to this or what was it, FansToys? I forget what it was called now, but turned out I didn't know what exactly Masterpiece Scale was as far as in relationship to other bots. So I didn't know that there was only one option, this option from FansToys, for an actual MP scaled Mindwipe Headmaster. So once I did figure that out, I went with this guy. I did like the styling somewhat of the other one. I'm not a super G1 purist. I don't have to have the bots look exactly like they were in the cartoon. And so I liked the extra detail and things that I saw on the other bot that weren't necessarily present here. But this guy is the MP scaled Mindwipe. Mindwipe is a character that I really like from the Japanese continuity. I was really impressed with the fact that they showed how he had this hypnotic power. Yeah, he seemed like a pretty cool character. He didn't just bash things. He actually, you know, had some other avenues to pursue in his fight against the Autobots. All right. So, FansToys style, we have FT-23 embossed, which is always a nice touch. We've got some keystoning perhaps here, or a tab of some sort. Let's do this. All right, we've got some accessories right off the bat. Right off the bat. Gun. Part of a stand. Nothing else. The base of the stand. I like that. That's a cool design. Empty here, and then the bot is on his face. But there he is, and his head came off, but there's his head. And he came nicely packaged with some good packaging material here to keep him from getting scratched up, rubbed to death in transit. And as I didn't realize I was supposed to do with FT-51 Chomp, I'm gonna push out these heel spurs so he can stand. The thing does pose really well. I can't say that I'm the most impressed with it right out of the box. There's some things about it that I'll get to, that I don't think are very fortunate. But let's check out articulation. So, as you can see, he's got this elbow bend here, and let's see how far he can go with the other arm. He can go that full 180. So there we go. That's a good bend. He's got that bicep swivel. There you go. 360 around. He's got shoulder flex up to there. He can rotate all around. Hear that beautiful ratchet. His fingers have these individual points of articulation here, 2 of them, which allows for a nice, finger and hand display. He's got this articulation here at the palm for the thumb, which is great. It's on a ball joint. And he's got that knuckle articulation right there for the thumb as well. Unfortunately, this part of his design gets in the way of a wrist swivel, though you can force it. It just, has to kind of softly go around those harder edges there. So he can do a wrist swivel, and he can do a wrist bend. Sorry about that. Wrist bend. Okay. He can't really do a come here because he can't get his palm flat. So he can't do like a beckoning call to fight him unless you do it like kind of at an angle there. So there's that. Head articulation, similar to Chomp. Not much. He can swivel 360 around. But because he is a Headmaster, there's not a whole lot to his up and down. That's decent. Depends on how far, I guess, he really sits in the receptacle there, but he can look down, he can look up. He's got no head tilt really to speak of, but he does have the basic articulation there. One thing is that this head doesn't seem to want to really sit in here decisively, like a snap-in point. So I've found that keeping his head in there has been a little frustrating, but not bad. Another thing with the Headmaster guy, well, I'll get back to the Headmaster. Gun fits into his hand, into this slot really well. Kudos, FansToys, for that. Thank you for giving us a nice, tight fitting slot and tab system there for the hand and the gun. He's got this butterfly joint there. So that is cool. He's got this waist swivel. Nice. Doesn't seem to have an ab crunch, but ab crunches weren't really a thing back in 2018 there. So can't fault them too much for that. The wings. Now, please take it under consideration, too, that I'm also not feeling the best, so I'm getting perhaps a little more frustrated than I might otherwise, but the wings are tending to be a little floppy as I'm demonstrating them. This one did seem to be out of the package weaker than this one. Well, maybe not so. All right, scratch that. Never mind. I did seem to have a problem with this wing being looser jointed here than this one. This one binds and wants to swing back into position, but this one will lay back. So that's kind of not cool. But perhaps there's some tightening, loosening I can do. He's got that full, wow, above 90-degree kick forward. He's got, if you can twist his, got to get his foot, I guess, out of the way a little bit, this claw foot here. And then he can kick back a little bit more. But he can do the full running thing, so no big deal. Doesn't go all the way back, but goes far enough. His knee is definitely more than a 90-degree bend. That's very cool. He has, a foot rocker. Nice. Inside and outside. Very cool. Let's see, thigh swivel. There goes his head. Okay, yes, thigh swivel. Nice thigh swivel. All right, and what else do we have? Okay, double jointed knee of sorts. So it does have a double joint there at the knee. That is good. And we did lose his head. Let me get his head. So there are just certain parts of him that don't feel quite as good as Chomp felt really solid. And this guy tends to feel a little bit looser in like the hips. These just seem to move really easily. Not that it's floppy. As you can see, it's not floppy. So we'll see how that goes. But overall, I'm not as impressed as I was with Chomp. But that's okay. This guy's going to fill the hole in my collection, and I think he'll do a decent job. The stats function here in his chest, it does have the fake readout, not triggered by his Headmaster function. So you can see that. Nothing triggers it. It's just, I guess, printed on there. And a really nice job, just like FT-21 Chomp, where they did that tampoing, printing, whatever it was on there. Looks nice. And as far as the Headmaster is concerned, I was handling this thing pretty roughly, so take that into consideration. But at one point, the faceplate did pop off. Word of caution here, when you are opening up Headmaster, I thought maybe the legs were actually stuck together. They're not. There's a peg. I torqued on this, and you can see some of the whitening there of the plastic where I torqued on it. So don't torque on the plastic. It's a tab. Just pull the legs apart. Okay? So there you go. Arms can raise up so. And you've got an elbow bend, and you've got individually articulated hips, and woo, a knee that goes backwards. And you've also got individually articulating feet on ball joints. So there you go. Decent Headmaster, but for some reason doesn't seem to want to hold into the Headmaster port on the body like FT-51, I think, seemed to do better with that. One thing about these talons here, they are impressive. They're nice and tight. They are well detailed, and I just like how definitively they will pose. So kudos, FansToys, thank you very much for providing some really good joints and knuckles on these talons here for the bat mode. And here he is in alt mode. Looking pretty cool. I'm not sure how much we could really ask for something that, you know, looked like it did in the cartoon. It's a robot bat. What do you want, right? Really nice detailed paint apps. As you can tell, maybe a bit there, the balance is a bit precarious. He really only wants to, you know, stay at a certain pitch, certain angle. These feet are not very, very, very strong. They're ball joints. I'll give you some light here. So, ball joints, individually articulated talons, which is cool. Let's see, do we have a little knuckle? There's supposed to be a knuckle, I think, there. Well, it looks like there's a pin for a knuckle, but I can't seem to bend it. So, not sure what's up with that. But anyway, he does stand. Nice paint apps. The paint apps here are really nice and tidy. Those teeth are all individually painted with metallic silver, so that's really cool. Those eyes have a nice metallic red sheen to them. So some really nice paint apps here. One thing I would recommend to make sure that you don't miss are these pegs for the arms, because if you miss these pegs, which are tucked into the side here, then you will miss how this is supposed to stay in place, and you'll think like I did that this was a really lame design and that FansToys really could have done better. But I missed the tab, so there's the tab, little circular tab there, and then it goes into the circular hole right there at the edge of the arm, and it just pegs in. And then you can kind of flex the elbow out where you want it. The instructions show that it kind of has this cant to it when they have him transformed into his alt mode, so that's what I'm pretty much just copying here. So there is that. The little guy does go inside, so your Headmaster can sit inside. He's got a nice little cockpit. A little hard to see here, but there you go. There's his cockpit. He's got his little steering wheel there that sits in his lap. And got some nice detailed prints that are supposed to be his dashboard, though they look pretty basic. One thing of note as well is that the instructions show that the gun goes at the top of his backpack here, but I found that that's not, it just fits there by friction, if anything, and it would fall out. So I think the instructions are actually, they misdirected us on the instructions, because there is a slot and tab system here down more at the base of the backpack. So if I undo this, you'll see that it's a nice solid connection there. And that's because the slot system, the tab system here on the gun, actually goes into a slot system on the inside of the leg there. So a little bit hard to see, but there is a slot system there. And as you can see, the little edges right here of the slot system, and the tab from the gun does fit. So you might have to pressure fit it into one side first, but it does fit, and then it stays. So there's also another little tab, I think, for, I'm pretty sure where it fits is that once you slot these slots in, that there's a little friction tab up further, which goes into the second stock of the gun. So there you go. It does stay. The instructions are just incorrect. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you out with your Mindwipe and helps you enjoy them a little bit more. One bummer that this thing does have is that these wings do not completely, they cannot completely enfold him. I was really kind of hoping that they could create a little, bat pod, as if he could put his wings around himself. But this part of the wing does not fold. So whereas you do have a fold here and a fold at the top, you cannot completely fold the whole wing around. So this part will always stay flat. It can go in. It can't really come forward. So there's limited articulation there. Another thing that's been kind of a bummer for me is that I pointed this out earlier, but look at that right wing, or excuse me, that left wing. That left wing can fly all the way back there. But there's something about the manufacture of this right wing that hits on itself on this cylinder here. And I did take apart this joint, and it looked like the circle that was bored into the metal was actually off center. So if that's correct, then there may be just a mismatch in geometry here, and this part is slightly mismanufactured. So maybe yours isn't the same, your copy. Hopefully it's not. And if you get the reissue, hopefully that's fixed. Because it would be nice if you could pin this wing back like that, just for a different pose. And you can do that with the one wing, but not the other. Oh yes, also these feet here do have a little bit of leg action. So, whoops. So it can swing, the feet can swing back to give them a little bit more of a back-footed stance, or they can swing forward for a little bit of a forward-footed stance. And I think the forward-footed stance is actually what gives him the better balance. So there you are. Last bit of articulation to mention here is the head. The head does tilt up. It can tilt, well, the mouth does close all the way, so you can close it. And that's as far as it tilts down. It can tilt up pretty far. It can rotate. 180 times 2 is 360. And it does have this extra plate. So if you do want to give it a little bit of false direction, you can tilt it down a little bit more and tilt it up a little bit more. So, and it looks like the Headmaster is actually getting in the way, if you can see him in the darkness there, of a tilt down. But if you have the Headmaster out, this plate can also tilt down. So he can go down to the top of his chest with that plate. So there you go. All right. I didn't make mention of this yet, but the plastic here does have a metallic sheen to it. It's not quite as present as on Chomp, I don't think. Chomp really kind of comes through and really shows like this kind of metallic flake inside the plastic. But they do have a metallic sheen in the plastic itself. They do have a metallic sheen in this paint. So nice paint apps and nice plastic. So that's worth mentioning. The Headmaster himself, the face does pop off easily. So it's only on that peg system there, as you can see. And there's those pegs. So if you really wanted to stay on there, then I suppose you're going to have to super glue it. So, but it does pop back on. So there's the Headmaster. And I didn't give any details on the face here either, but the face is nicely sculpted and also nicely painted. Look at that metallic red on that visor. Really nice. So how about that accessory stand? It really only seems to go together in one way. It's got a point here that seems to line up with that point, so that seems logical. It's got a single point of articulation here. And when I put him on here in alt mode as the bat, if you tilted this thing too forward to get him flying more angularly, the thing wanted to tip. And I even reversed that thinking, and I'm no engineering student here, but that maybe this would provide a little bit more stability. It did not. He still wanted to tip over. However, I imagine this still works in bot mode. So the peg and slot system here go into him under here, and it does seem like it does a decent job. There goes his head. To secure him. And there you go. Now he can be flying. And how much he can be flying, I don't know. Let's see. It'll hold him that way. Well, there you go. So he can fly in his bot mode. Alt mode wants to tip over. Can he lay back here? Nope, wants to tilt that way. And it doesn't seem that this is reversible. So I guess you can't reverse the weight. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below, because I am not the most expert when it comes to FansToys bots. But there you go. This stand, not mentioned in the media at all. Boom, 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 boom. Double check, make sure I'm correct there. I didn't see the stand at all. So there you go. You're left to figure out what to do with it yourself. All right, let's bring in one of our MP scale comparison standards, MP10 Optimus Prime. And if we look at the Mike Lorber freelance graphics scale chart, then we'll see that Mindwipe is not in scale with Optimus Prime. That he's actually about a full head taller than he should be. So what does that mean to my collection, and what does that mean to other MP collectors? Well, for my collection, I'm still going to put this in there as my Mindwipe, but I will be watching to see if there's something else that comes out on the market that actually is more correctly scaled, and or we find out that the scale chart is actually inaccurate. That being said, what does that mean for the rest of us MP collectors? Well, strictly speaking, depending on what you're gauging your collection by, we don't have an accurately scaled MP scale Mindwipe yet. So there is an opportunity there for x-transbots to come in and actually give us that properly scaled Mindwipe. So that's a cool opening for x-transbots or another third-party company, and we'll have to just wait and see what comes out. Who knows, maybe Make Toys will get back in the game and start producing Headmasters again as well. But until then, I've got FT-23 Dracula, aka Mindwipe, here from FansToys. Okay, my final thoughts here on FT-23 Dracula from FansToys, their version of G1 Mindwipe from the American G1 continuity as well as the Japanese G1 continuity. It's a decent bot. The head pops off a lot more than I would like it to. Overall, it's a little bit nondescript. I mean, it's just kind of got three colors, black, purple, and that brown. A little bit of red thrown in. It's a good bot. I'm eager to see what else another company puts out. I think some things could be done differently. Can XTB maybe do better? We'll see. I haven't seen any plans from XTB to do a Mindwipe, but you never know with how much they've been putting out lately, or how much they've been pledging to put out lately. You know, we'll see. But for now, this is going to definitely be in fine position on my shelf next to FT-51 Chomp, despite the apparent scale issue of FT-23 being too tall. And I can't wait to see how good the KO of FT-18 Lupus is, their version of, FansToys version rather, of Weird Wolf. So there you have it. If you've got FT-23 reissue on order, then I hope you like what you find, and maybe they've made some improvements. I look forward to hearing what you guys find out with your reissues to see if there are any improvements. But as it stands here, FT-23 Dracula, aka Mindwipe, is going to be fine for my MP collection until the scale issue is resolved, if ever. All right. Thanks for watching. If you've watched before and you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as well so that you get notified anytime a new mixelpix video comes online. I've got MP Squared reviews for new bots. I've got Transformers Time Warp for going back into the history of MP characters that maybe you haven't seen yet and that I have not reviewed yet but are from the past. I've got Iacon Archives 2, which is dedicated at this point to kind of the history or interviews of people within the fandom, and MP one-shots for things that are just kind of off the cuff and out of nowhere. Also, Transformers Prime Time for my Transformers Prime reviews. That's it. Thanks again, and until next time, happy collecting, everybody. And now it's time for me to check out FT-48 Hannibal. Oh yeah, FansToys Fortress Maximus.